Powered by Riverside FM.
Powered by Riverside.
Welcome to the UP. Another great episode. Like and hit that subscribe button. It really helps out the algorithm and helps the station grow. So thank you for all your support that I've received so far. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this topic because I'm not worried, but I know that there are particular people in Vikings Nation that are worried about when will we sign Justin Jefferson. Listen, Justin Jefferson is going to sign with the Minnesota Vikings. You can book it. If they were going to not sign him, they probably would have traded him already. Some sort of package. They're not going to bring him in on his fifth-year option as a lame duck wide receiver with no contract in place and then have the possibility of losing him. Because if you go into that fifth year, here's what you don't understand. Other teams know that you're in the fifth-year option of that contract, so they're not going to put together a massive trade package for Justin Jefferson because they know that you've got to sign him and he's at the end of his rookie contract. So it's in the Vikings' best interest to get that signed. Now, Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah has said that they're really close to signing a contract, and I think he's really sincere about that. And then the Vikings do this thing every year with their players, and a lot of people don't realize they don't like to re-sign their players to an extension until that July 31st date. I don't know why that particularly is, but they've done that in the past. That's been their trend. That's been their MO. So I don't think they're going to treat Justin Jefferson any different. It is my belief that Justin Jefferson will sign before the start of the season. And why would you want to take J.J. McCarthy's insurance policy away? You just got your franchise quarterback. You're really confident in the kid. You give him the biggest luxury in the world, not even close, the best wide receiver that he's ever played with, if not the best wide receiver in the NFL right now. Why would you take that away from J.J. McCarthy? Not going to happen. So if I am Minnesota Vikings Nation, I'm just not worried about it. Now, another hang-up is going to be the whole Jamar Chase thing. These guys played at LSU, really, really good friends, but they're rivals. You know, if you've ever had your best friend, you're always trying to outdo each other, especially as you grow up, who has the biggest house, who has the prettiest wife, who has the nicest car. Like, that's what best friends do. And so Jamar Chase is up for a signing right after JJ's is due. So I think each one of them wants to be the highest paid wide receiver in the league. So the Vikings and JJ are going to have to put something on the table that Jamar Chase just can't outdo, because believe me, the Cincinnati Bengals are going to try. So these contract negotiations become really tedious. But honestly, I see no signs that the Minnesota Vikings are not going to be able to get that done. I think the Justin Jefferson camp is really smart because they know the salary cap is growing. So what the Minnesota Vikings can offer him today won't be what they can offer him tomorrow. Salary cap is getting bigger, better offer for Justin Jefferson. As a business move, that's really smart. And I've heard a couple of Vikings fans, and I'm not in this camp. Last year, if you remember, Justin Jefferson was out for a handful of games, and the Vikings seemingly didn't miss him. They won the games without him. So there's this pocket of Minnesota Viking fans that says, okay, how valuable is Justin Jefferson? My answer to them is very valuable. He's someone that can take the top off the defense. Jordan Addison, really, really good wide receiver, ain't Justin Jefferson, not even close, but the two really complement each other. And then you throw TJ Hawkinson in there that can work the seams and across the middle if he comes back from his knee injury well. All those pieces start to complement each other. And then you bring in Aaron Jones, who's been a stalwart running back for the Green Bay Packers. In my opinion, he's got a few years left in the tank. He's going to complement that passing game as well. And all of these are insurance policies for J.J. McCarthy. Those two are already on the same page, J.J. and J.J. You know, McCarthy put out a update on he and JJ's conversations. He said, there's not going to be two JJs around here. You can be JJ. Around here, they call me Jets. So it seems to me that Justin Jefferson is on board with the signing of JJ McCarthy. And like I said in a previous episode, this kid, JJ McCarthy, is growing on me. The maturity, the work ethic already, ingratiating himself with his teammates and his coaches. I think the kid could be all right. I'm not saying he's got the best arm in the draft or he's the best playmaker in the draft, but you're starting to get the feeling that at least you know that this kid is not going to be a bust for the Minnesota Vikings. I just get the feeling that at worst he's going to be a pretty decent quarterback. May not be the best, but I think he's going to be a pretty decent quarterback. When you look at the quarterbacks that went, Caleb Williams, like you just don't know. The guy comes with a lot of baggage. Dad's already involved, telling people who he's going to play with, who he's not going to play with. Finally got signed by the Bears. Prima donna. There's a couple of red flags about him. Drake May went to a terrible situation with the New England Patriots. Like why they drafted a quarterback, I don't know. I mean, they have so many pieces that they have to fill, and now you're going to put the weight of this franchise on a kid who obviously has probably the biggest upside, but needs some grooming. I mean, the guy needs to work on his tools, his footwork, his release points, working the ball across the middle. There are times where he can become really, really erratic with the football, and I think he needed to be in the most stable place possible, and he went to the New England Patriots. That's going to be a tough road to hoe. Daniels to the Washington Commanders. I think that's a good move. I mean, the offense that he's going to be in is going to accentuate his playmaking. He was my number one quarterback on the board. He's going to go into that run and shoot type offense where he's going to get a chance to throw the ball all the time. Not going to have a traditional running game, but he's going to be able to be part of the running game, using his feet, escaping, and being able to throw the ball downfield. Michael Penix went to the Falcons, who I had second on my list. And what a weird situation for the Atlanta Falcons. I think this was a situation was the Atlanta Falcons didn't do their homework early. There's no way they did their homework early on Michael Penix. Because if they would have did their homework early on Michael Penix, there would have never been the Kirk Cousins signing. As I said before, I've never seen a draft where a guy like Michael Penix, who was number one on everybody's board post college season last year, had a great college year, and then as soon as he lost in the national championship game, his stock just went downhill. I mean, people were talking about he was going to be a second round pick, and that narrative was out there about him. Just really weird. And then all the combines and the workout stuff started to happen, and I think the Atlanta Falcons fell in love with the kid and said, wait a minute, this kid can play. But they had already guaranteed Kirk Cousins all this guaranteed money, so now they were stuck. Are you sticking with a mediocre Kirk Cousins who has great stats, but still mediocre, hasn't done anything of any significance in the NFL since he's been in the league? Or do you go with this young stud? And I think the Atlanta Falcons put an insurance policy on a possible mistake that they made with Kirk Cousins. So I don't disagree with the move. It's just really strange because now it really puts the pressure on Kirk Cousins to get out there and perform. But we've got a new quarterback, J.J. McCarthy. And you pair him with Justin Jefferson. When they get that extension, J.J. and Jets, Justin Jefferson is going to be together for a long time. The guy's box office. I mean, when I think of just box office wide receivers for the Minnesota Vikings, you got Chris Carter, Randy Moss, and you can throw J.J. right there. You can throw J.J. right there. So Vikings Nation, I wouldn't worry about that contract getting signed. It's going to get signed. You heard it here first on the UP. You can book it. You can book it. The contract is going to get signed. I know how these things work. It is a really scary thing that you have him out there going into his 5th year with nothing done yet. But start looking around that July 31st. I think he's going to get signed in between that July 31st date of training camp and somewhere before the season starts. So I'm not worried. We're going to have Justin Jefferson around here for a very long time. First time in a long time we've had a franchise quarterback, the highest drafted quarterback in Minnesota Vikings history, J.J. McCarthy. So everything is looking good for the Minnesota Vikings. We haven't even touched on the defense yet with B-Flow and that hellfire defense that B-Flow brings. So things are looking good. So Vikings Nation, don't panic. Justin Jefferson is going to get signed. You heard it here on the UP. No one's worried here. Go Minnesota Vikings. Justin Jefferson, no worries. Long extension will get signed. This has been the UP.
Powered by Riverside.